Yo, what's going on, guys? Your boy Gameover Continue, and I got a review for the new God of War coming out for PS4, set to release early 2018. Let's check it out together. So, going forward, my game content or my video content is going to be about game releases. I think that's going to be a great way to get good new content constantly, and going forward, that's just going to be what my channel is going to be about. It's going to be about game reviews and new games coming out. So. Let's check out the new God of War.
I think I'm weak because I'm not like you. I know I was never what you wanted. But after all this, I thought maybe things were different.
You do not know everything, boy.
I don't think that Kratos
No.
doesn't want his son, or his son thinks that he's not what he wanted. I think that he knows the life ahead of him. He knows that his son's going to have to be a warrior. He knows that his son's going to have to do things that a normal child wouldn't have to endure or go through, essentially. And he's just sad. You know, he's sad to see that his son has to go through some of the things that he's had to go through. He's not going to express that to his son, you know. He's not gonna tell him all the hardships and, you know, scare him pretty much. Alright. So like all the foes in God of War, it's gonna be foes based off Greekology or Greek the Greek mythos, you know.
Better.
The gods of these realms don't take kindly to outsiders, trust me. When they find you, and they will, they'll make the...
Okay, so there's new gods, okay? I guess there's these new gods Kratos is gonna have to face, or him and his son. And also, too, going forward with him fighting these new gods, his son, I feel like Kratos is gonna die. I feel like this is gonna be the last time we see Kratos. You know, I would hope not, but he's getting older. He's talking about raising his kid. He's talking about you're gonna have to be this warrior now. And with all that being said, I think he's gonna die.
It's difficult.
Wait here. I will handle this.
Jeez, look how close the gameplay is though. This is the gameplay I want to see. This is the game I want to play. You know. Look at the detail. Like you can see it. You can see it everywhere. It's not so good with what I've done with it, but once the game actually comes out, that whole PS4 graphics card is really gonna push these images to light. And also too, from the old God of War games, you had an aerial view of the action that was going on, which was cool. I think it was a lot to do with the Swords of Chaos and how they were swinging around and, you know, all this. But with him having the axe now, you're really going to be able to get in there and see that. I feel like they could have did the same thing with the swords. You know, it would have looked a little different. I wish he still had his Swords of Chaos. I was a big fan of those swords. But I wouldn't be too despaired about, like, the axe. The axe really isn't your thing. Like, I don't want to use an axe. All God of War games, he gets new abilities. That's what keeps the game, you know, it keeps it going, keeps it fresh. You know, you're not just using the same old thing, killing the same old enemies. You'll be able to do it in different ways with different enemies, using different tactics. So that axe isn't gonna, I mean, you're gonna get new stuff. As you kill the new gods, you're gonna develop their abilities. And at least in the older games, when you would kill the gods, you would get their abilities. You got Hermes, thing where he could fly. You had Zeus's sword. You had Hades' he had these like hooks. You had those. So he's gonna get new things. It would be super awesome if he did get his Swords of Chaos. I'd hope they wouldn't put that as some DLC content. I hate it when developers do that. Like, oh, play the prelude to God of War before he had his son, or what led up to him having his son. I could see them doing that, like they did in Metal Gear Solid 5. There was like a prelude to a person named Quiet, and it kind of told you about her. You know, I would just hope they would not make that DLC, but most likely it'll be DLC, maybe. That's the sun. This is gonna be a very, very brutal game. This is what I like to see. Jeez.
Wow, that was something at the fight.
Yeah, see, the developers are making light of how the new game is and how close and involved you're going to be in the action. Unlike the previous predecessors of the God of War games, you're going to be up close and making decisions, you know, on hair triggers, you know. It's like life or death. There's that detail I was telling you guys about.
On our journey, we will be attacked by all manner of creature. To be effective in combat, a warrior must not feel for his enemy.
See, he's trying to tell his son, like, he's about to gouge this dude's eyes out, I don't know. But he's telling his son pretty much the road ahead is going to be difficult. And even though it's not about him being a kid could still be a man, you know? A kid can develop the mental capacity to destroy his enemies like a man could. And he's trying to instill that into him early on. That way when he becomes a man, he's going to be even fiercer than he would have been if he was like 18 and then teaching him this shit. He's already going to be ahead of the game. So, and he has to be ahead of the game because Kratos has enemies that want to kill him. And Kratos has done all kinds of stuff. He's pissed off the wrong people. Let's just say that. So, his son is going to take on those burdens pretty much, and he has to be ready to do that. He has to be mentally prepared. And, you know, he's a kid still, and I understand this, but he's, you know, at least his dad isn't the normal dad. You know what I'm saying? This guy killed Zeus.
Close your heart to their desperation. Close your heart to their...
Now, do you guys remember that? If you guys played God of War, do you remember that part when Kratos grabbed that dude by the head and slammed his head into the side of the mountain, and all you seen was like red coming down the screen? That's what that reminds me of when he says, "Close your heart to the desperation of your foes," because Kratos he has to kill. He's not, you know, it doesn't matter what you tell him, you have to go.
suffering. The road ahead is long and unforgiving. No place for a boy. You must be a warrior.
But not everyone is bad.
It's that
Mother always
optimism
said to be
of
open
a
to those who can
child.
help.
Who you were before doesn't matter.
See, I feel like even though his dad's trying to make him like him, as far as a warrior standpoint, his son is still his son. He's still an individual with his own motives, and with his heart being not as hard as Kratos's is, I feel like he'll get farther than his father would have, because he'll be more optimistic about meeting new challenges that lie before him. You know, he's not gonna go in brutally just destroying his enemies. Like, I don't think, at least from what I'm getting from his son would never be the kind of man that would go in with the swords of chaos and murder his own family like Kratos did. You know, that's what happened with him, because he was a general for the Spartan army, and he had this whole mentality of kill them all. You know, his son is still soft. You know, he's still fresh to life and optimistic and open-minded and welcoming of people. I mean, clearly not the monsters that are trying to kill him, but if he were to come across another person, like a human, and, you know, they were speaking the right stuff to him, he may spare them, and that may create an opportunity in his life to where he could progress farther than Kratos would, because Kratos would just cut your head off. That's just the kind of man he is.
This boy is not your past, he is your son.
Exactly, he's not his past.
He needs his father.
What is this?
It's the world serpent.
Take on board!
I am!
What is it saying?
He wants to help us!
All right. So with that all being said, apparently his son can speak to serpents in the water. Kind of curious of how he can do that. Like, I also wonder who his mother was. Kratos didn't just get with any female and have a kid. I'm sure he thought that through. I'm assuming she had some kind of powers because he's speaking to serpents, and his father clearly could not understand what the serpent was saying. And it wasn't like the serpent was speaking a language. So, and he's too young to went under any kind of training besides the training that he's going through right now. So that's interesting how that's going to develop. Also, his son had a bow and arrow that was shooting out lightning. So, I mean, maybe his son's a demigod, but then again, Kratos is a demigod himself because his father was Zeus. So that automatically gives his son some kind of like godly abilities. I can't wait for this game to come out. Like I said, early 2018 is what I was looking up when I was reviewing and trying to research when the date was. I know you can pre-order it right now. As far as DLC, pre-order DLC is concerned, I haven't seen any that I've looked up. It was a pretty quick search. I was just really trying to find the date of when it was going to come out. But I'm sure there's going to be some DLC. Is it going to be worth pre-ordering to get that DLC? You're going to have to decide that for yourself. As far as developers are concerned, they always put DLC just to boost those sales and get that shit out there. But I still can't wait to get it. I'll probably pre-order it myself because I'm a huge God of War fan, and whatever they do, they really do it well. And as far as storytelling goes, they've always done an excellent job of storytelling. And that's what I look for also too in a game. It's not just about playing it. It's about like where are the characters going? How's this developed? What's the lore? And then who's the protagonist? And I look really deep into that, and that's what gets me involved in the game. And I feel like that's what would keep a person, that's what would make you want to play it again, you know, to rehear the tales of the story. So with that all being said, this is my game review. This is your boy Game Over Continue, and I'm out. I'll catch you guys on the stream. Peace.